Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome down to a beautiful sunny day here in the northwest of England, just to give you some context of where we are apparently. And today is a build my bag 3-wood video. Now currently in the bag I have a G410 LST 3-wood, which I absolutely adore. Not quite as much as a firstborn, but like a favourite cousin. You know, you hang out with them, your friends, you know, they're a member of your family that you actually get on with. But Ping have brought out a new fairway wood, the G425, and I've also got the LST version of that. So the Build My Bag series is very simple. I take different areas of the bag, so in this case a 3-wood, Biostone driver, wedges, irons, all the rest of it. I put different brands to compete against each other for a spot in my bag. If you like the sound of this video, please hit that like button and don't be shy, subscribe to the channel, it's free, and I would love you to become part of this beautiful community. You know who I'm talking about, everybody watching. Now the 3-woods I'm going to be testing against each other today. I've got the G425, I've got the 410, so my old 3-wood, I've got a Titleist, and I've also got a mystery interloper, a long lost family member who storms in one Christmas and demands their inheritance. I don't know where this whole family vibe's coming from today. So we've got a par 5 here. I'm going to hit both the 3-woods I've got in my bag, so the 425 and the 410. I'm out at Hurlston Hall, I've got a comp here next week. So we're going to go around a few holes here, testing out these clubs, and then we're going to head back into the studio to reveal the mystery cousin, but also test out some other models. So G410 to begin with. This is LST, so low spin tech in 14.5. It's exactly the same as the G425. No real wind here this morning. Maybe a touchdown if anything. Oh, absolute bullet. I'm going to do like a proper Tour Pro. Oh, now I've looked. I was going to do like a proper Tour Pro thing then and not look at it because I knew exactly where it was going. Okay, G425 LST. Still a little bit further right, but similar line. Similar feel off the face, similar everything really. Because one of the questions we're going to be asking in this video is if you have a 3-wood which is 1-2 years old, even longer, has the technology actually changed that much? Do you need to change? I'm not sure, but we'll answer that question. So anecdotal measurements so far on the course. This is where the G425 LST finished, and it's a medium throw away from the 410. With fairway woods, it's the one area of a Tour Pro's bag, maybe apart from irons and putter, that you see really hardly any change. Because fairway woods, as far as technology goes, you want it to go high, you want it to go a decent distance. But fairway woods for a lot of people are still about control. They're not about hitting it as far as possible. So is there any point in making a 3-wood go faster? The main point of difference I think for many people watching this is what's the 3-wood that's going to help get the ball in the air quicker? What's the most forgiving one you can buy? And that is exactly the same for me as well, because fairway woods off the tee great, but off the deck that's where you want them to be good. 180 left into this par 5 with the 410. Just going to butter in a 7-iron downwind, a little bit of a jumper lie. Don't need to step on this. Well, that's gone pretty close. I really don't want to be hurting my wrist with comps only a few days around the corner. Can we start a video with the big bird, the big flappy eagle of destiny? It's a pretty rare breed. Maybe a touch right to left. Oh, P. Oh, that's a disgrace. Never, ever, ever leave an eagle put short, especially on YouTube. Flipping heck. I'm sorry, everybody. So I'm going to hit the 410 first on this hole. I think one of the slight weaknesses of the Ping 3-woods is they get up really, really easily, but this is a little bit into wind. I do find it hard to get these piercing through. So these might be a little bit floaty. Certainly the Titleist that I'm going to be kind of testing out in this video, that is a more of a boring flight, as in a, you know, not as in a, ooh. Well, that is probably as good as I'm going to hit the 410. That was lovely. That was straight down. It's quite nice actually. It takes a bit of pressure off the wrists when I hit it off the tee. So that was absolutely a beauty, that one. So shout out to the 45. Wow, that is going to be a perfect comparison. I've hit those ones pretty much straight out the middle. Doesn't happen very often. Let's see where they're at. So this is the situation where most people actually fear using their 3-wood. So we're off the fairway. It's not lying amazing, but we need to get the ball up in the air and traveling. This is the type of shot where many golfers would be fatting it, topping it, and letting it roll along the floor. We want to smash it. Now, a lot of the understanding here is your 3-wood is designed to get the ball up in the air. It's quite a wide sole, and a lot of the weight in your 3-wood will generally be concentrated at the back of the club. Now, this means you don't have to fear the ball not going up in the air. Now, because of that, I'm going to be putting the ball position just inside the left heel, but I'm going to be moving through and trying to sweep that ball off the surface. Because this sole is so wide, this is going to be gliding along the surface. And even if you hit the ball first and then a little bit of turf, it's not going to dig in, it's going to get out the turf. You can attack this, you don't have to be scared. So starting with those feet together, I'm going to move my left foot a little bit, right foot bigger step. So it's just inside that left heel. I'm going to keep my swing center behind the ball. I'm going to just try to sweep it away. A little bit like that. I need to start talking through every demo, I've decided. Now the first thing I'm going to do is start hitting some of my current 3-wood, so the G410 LST. I want to be able to use the 3-wood off the tee, oddly enough, to find the fairways and yet still get me a decent distance down there. There's not a driver replacement, but it does still need to pack a punch. Now with the G410, it is the LST version, so that's low spin tech. There's 3,200 spin there, carry 256. But even when I was testing this originally, I still found that it spun a decent amount. It wasn't like it was dropping out the air. And what I absolutely love about this fairway wood and about the 425, which we'll get onto in a second, a little bit of a draw, is that the profile when they sit behind the ball is great. So it's a very shallow club head, but also the sole is quite flat. Now, if we just have a very quick comparison to the Titleist I'm going to be testing out in a minute between one of the pings, you'll actually see that the Titleist is much more of a curved shape along the sole, while the ping sits very, very flat. It just feels like the ball's going to get into the air a lot easier. And that terrible skied first shot aside, I still want to have that ability to get it up in the air nice and easily, and how a fairway wood looks behind the ball is incredibly important. And what I'm going to look for in the data here is, yes, distance, yes, dispersion, also consistency of flight and spin. And that's one of the other benefits about the G410 I found. So that was a real necky, nasty strike, and distance-wise, it's still great. Now, I want to be testing the G425 LST out on the golf course. The shafts are very similar, but it is slightly heavier in the G425. And I actually prefer the feel of the 70-gram shaft. And just so we can see if there is any real difference between these clubs, I do want to test it with the same shaft this time. So both the heads are at 14.5, have a tensite orange shaft in X stiff and at 70 grams. Something you notice about these two clubs straight away is they are very, very similar. Like when you compare them side by side, there's a few aesthetic differences, but not loads. But in all fairness, I don't want them to change it too much. The G410 was a wonderful fairway wood. You know, if the G425 is slightly refined, slightly better, then great. Oof. Almost fell over. It's quite a long way left. There is a slightly different sound with the LST. The footprint is slightly different as well. It's got this face wrap, and Ping do like to talk about this spin consistency. Terrible, terrible word. But what they feel is they have a very consistent amount of spin from across the face now. Still got the weight at the back. Still looks very shallow behind the ball. The turbulators have been removed from the top of the crown. Aesthetically, I actually think it looks a lot better. Got a little bit more kick at the bottom, it feels. Not sure if these are the same head weight. Look at the consistency in that flight though. Ninth hole here, a little comparison before going back into the studio. 410. I mean, it's such a good 3-wood this. I just don't even know if I want to change it. That's a little bit more off the bottom, a little bit spinnier. I think the 410 is going to claim that one as well, but we can see. Yeah, so 425 before the bunker, 410 after, so probably about 10-15 yards difference. Quite strong wind into now, but also just a flight. This one was a good strike. The other one was off the bottom. More my misjudgment of angles, really. Okay, let's head back into the studio and see what the Foresight software is saying about the Titleist and the Mystery Challenger. So the Titleist TSI 3. Now behind the ball, this doesn't sit quite as low. However, even to my eye, it's still behind the ball, it looks great. It looks like a Titleist fairway wood. And for a better player, that is very appealing. There is a movable weight within this club head. I actually got fitted for this 3-wood as well. 75 gram Tour X tensile in this one. Slightly different profile and it just sits great. Oh. It's a different sound to that one. And, wow. Look at the extra carry on that, holy moly. Ball speed 161. This is also slightly lower in loft, so this is 14 degrees rather than 14.5. Again, that's just what I was fitted into. Got these slight draws on here, but you can see this definitely has a little bit of extra oomph through the air. So on to the Mystery Club. Now this is a TaylorMade M5 Titanium. Now this club was first released a few years ago, and this is a fairway wood which is very, very powerful. But from my original fitting, I've actually got a slightly different shaft here. So this is also now 14.5. It's in a 75 gram shaft, and it's also at the same length as the G410 and the G425. It's got a big movable weight in the bottom of this club. I've got it pretty much set in the middle. It's great to look down on still, that carbon. I've also got a titanium construction on this 3-wood as well. I think we can say it's definitely something going on with my swinging here. So power-wise, I think this is probably going to be quite comparable to the Titleist. Oh. Look at that. Carrying it 275. Oh, vibing with it. I mean, this would be potentially one of the best clubs off the tee. It is a little mini driver. And looks-wise, I think this is really nice. It is quite similar to the Titleist as far as its profile, but it's obviously a very strikingly different look. So what I'm going to do now is go through a grueling and extensive period of testing, and not just off the tee here. I'm going to hit quite a few off the deck because, you know, I see myself using this club half off the tee and half not on the tee. I've also tested all of these clubs out on the course previously, so I do have an understanding of how they interact with the turf, including this M5, which collects dirt in these 2 holes on the back of the club. It's very annoying. So lots of shots hit there, and there's a few things which are apparent. The Titleist and the TaylorMade, they go further, but there's a caveat to that which I'll get to. But I want to start with the Ping G410 LST. What a consistent club that is. So first of all, off the tee, so 156 ball speed average, 2,856 backspin, carry at 264, and total at 283. Now off the tee, that's perfectly healthy. I don't need it to go any further than that. And also the consistency of the flight and what I felt during the strike, and just how it looks behind the ball, it's such a great 3-wood. The Titleist off the tee was 280 carry average, 301 total. Ball speed faster at 161 miles an hour, which is great, but I don't need my 3-wood to go 300 yards. I really, really don't. And I'll cross the Titleist off the list straight away because off the deck, again, it was just so hard because it was spinning well, it wasn't spinning. It was so hard to feel like I could get a consistent flight out of it. So the Titleist is crossed off the list. Despite looking amazing, it's just not for me. Now the Ping G425 LST, average ball speed again off the tee 156 miles an hour, carry 259, total 278, so slightly under what I saw with the G410 LST. Backspin at 2,931, so slightly higher in that regard. So spins slightly more, carry slightly less distance, rolls out slightly less distance. TaylorMade M5, really good off the tee, so 273 carry average with a total of 291. So again, maybe a touch too far, but much easier to fly than the Titleist. Average backspin was about 2,000 revs a minute with the M5, and that's not going to be enough for me to try and hold some of the greens on par fives that I'm going into. That's a real consideration for me, is that fine balance between what you want to be seeing off the tee and what you want to be seeing off the fairway going into some of these holes. And for more thoughts on 3-woods, let's head out to the course. So some interesting numbers there, but also nothing shocking. You know, there's nothing really stand out. And this almost brings me on to one of my main feelings and my main understandings of the fairway wood market. Well, it's bouncing. Fairway woods are generally designed to do a few things. Glide across or through the surface because of the wide sole, collect the ball and get it up in the air as quickly as possible. And the more forgiving that you can make that fairway wood, the better. Now for most people, when they find a fairway wood that they absolutely love, it can be in the bag for years and years and years and years and for years. And I'll pull up some examples because there are tour pros, you know, the very elite players at the top of the game. Once they find a fairway wood that they like, they will stick with it. There's absolutely no need to get rid of it out of the bag. We'll get back into the studio in a minute, but when I'm looking at these numbers, this is all about feeling if there is any benefit in changing a golf club, which I already really, really love. Do I adopt a new child when I already have a favorite? So, decision time. And I think I'm just gonna stick with the G410 LST. One of the really cool things about doing this, I almost said job, is that generally I can get access to pretty much all the clubs that I'd like to test. And with that comes really untold temptation. I would be able to switch in between clubs literally every week if I wanted to, and even though that's great for making videos, it's not great for overall performance. And the whole point of the Build My Bag series is to get what works best for me and my game, so I can then play in competitions and hopefully do well. And if I constantly chop and change, that's not going to be the best bet. Especially, and this is the key point, when there isn't a significant difference. And that's what I found, even with the G425 LST, the numbers were very similar, very similar. And although the TaylorMade and the Titleist could have given me a definite advantage off the tee as far as distance is concerned, that's what my drive is for. And I don't want to hit that shot that comes out like a rocket and goes 300, because generally if I'm hitting my 3-wood off the tee, it's the layup short of a hazard, or it's to lay up short of fairway bunkers. So why would I want that nuke potentially in the arsenal that's just going to absolutely fly off the face? So having that little bit more consistency, that's what's going to be key. Also with that TaylorMade M5, it's such a good 3-wood. Don't be scared about looking at 3-woods and technology, which is a few years older. There are some great clubs out there and some great bargains to be had. I think that's one of the reasons why the golf bidder videos that we do, they're so popular, because people like seeing those clubs from the past and seeing that they can still perform. Right guys, thank you so much for watching. Get down into those comments below, let me know what you think. Do you enjoy the Build My Bag videos as well? I've got the putter one, which is going to be coming up very soon, and that promises to be an absolute battle royale. I must have about 50 putters to test. I might actually stick those into like a tournament tree, see which one comes out on top. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on my other social media platforms as well, and we'll see you down here next time.